So, for several days, we have been hearing about the sadness of the terrible kings of Israel and Judah. How nobody seems to do what is right in the eyes of the Lord. Ever. But today, we hit a bright spot. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a bright spot with Isaiah talking about restoration. Today, we have a significant bright spot with Hezekiah, the king of Judah, who seems like a pretty good guy.
Yeah, whenever you start reading about any of the kings, I always anticipate the second sentence being, and he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. And that is not the case. And that has been like the case several times for us where you read, and he did what was right. And it's like, oh, yes, this is great. But I think Hezekiah takes it even a step further. He takes down the high places. He like rallies everybody up for like a big family reunion. And in the end of Second Chronicles, in the Second Chronicles chapter 30, there's a little like section of 2 verses. So this is after everyone has come together for the feasts, for the like sacrifices in the temple again, as like a joined body. And it says, so there was great joy in Jerusalem, for since the time of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, there has been nothing like this in Jerusalem. Then the priests and Levites arose. Their voices were heard, and their prayers came to his holy habitation in heaven. So that is like so crazy because we haven't heard of an instance like this for like hundreds of years. And so that is very, very cool that one king finally took it seriously. And what's even crazier, Hezekiah is the son of Ahaz. And if we know anything about Ahaz from our previous readings, like you would assume that he would very much fall in line with how his father reigned and like the lineage going way back, where everybody is super evil, including Ahaz. Ahaz, in my opinion, is like one of the most evil kings that we have seen up until this point. But he is like breaking those crazy chains and family curses, if you will, and is actually taking his job super seriously. So it's like encouraging to see this kind of change.
Guys, I'm sorry. We got so excited to talk about Hezekiah, we actually forgot to say that today's reading is 2 Kings 18, verses 1 to 8, 2 Chronicles 29 to 31, and then Psalm 48.
Right.
But
forgot that.
It is actually exciting to read because it is like, if you've been tracking with us, if you've been on this journey of reading the Bible every day, we've been in a pretty dark place, it feels like. And so to see Hezekiah smash the high places, destroy the idols, we get this weird call out that they were actually worshiping the bronze serpent that Moses has held up in the wilderness. So the idolatry here has just been widespread, and it really does feel like the Israelites have been worshiping anything that they can get their hands on. And so to see Hezekiah really clean everything out it's very exciting. One of the things that I noticed that was pretty cool is that this reform is happening not just in Judah. So Hezekiah not only wants to clean out the temple and worship the Lord correctly, he wants to unify the entire kingdom. And
when
so
has that happened? Not for a long time.
That has not happened for a long time. There's been some like loose alliances to fight off different enemies. But Hezekiah actually sends couriers throughout the northern kingdom of Israel, which at that point most likely had already been destroyed by the Assyrians, and a lot of the people had been carried off into exile. So most likely the couriers are like reaching out to this remnant of people who are not dragged into exile and inviting them to come and worship the Lord. And a lot of them do.
So to kind of wrap everything up, if you look at Psalm, so we have one little tiny Psalm today from Psalm 48. In verse 11, I think it kind of ties everything up for a year part as we reflect on the reading for today, the Psalm for today, and just kind of where it leaves us in what we can do or how we can reflect. So chapter 48, verse 11 says, your right hand is filled with righteousness. Let Mount Zion be glad. Let the daughters of Judah rejoice because of your judgments. So to me, this really stuck out because they're saying, let us rejoice because of your judgments. So like they are finally at a place where they are like completely raw. They're coming together. They're recognizing all of the things that they've been through and like this dark, dark place of where the Lord has like allowed them to even survive and have mercy from. And they're like, you know what? Thank you for those judgments. Thank you for showing us like that you are our rescuer. Like we do nothing to get out of this without you. So they're just like thanking God for those like really hard spots that they were in. And I think that applies to us as well. Like, these guys have finally come together. They're worshiping God the same way that they used to in like the days of old, and they're finally like back to this good place. And it seems like for us, that can be the same thing, like hitting your low and then coming to this place where you can finally like worship together again, or just worship God again, because you've seen those lows. You know that the Lord is the one who's helped you out of it, and just being like thankful for those times, because it just strengthens that relationship even more. So I encourage you today, even in your own life, reflect on those low times. Like, we've all hit them. We've all been in them. And just reflect on how God is the one who has brought you out of those places. Or if you are in a low place, know that he is the one that will help you out of that, as long as you put your faith and trust in him to be able to come out of that place and strengthen your relationship with him today. So we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for listening to God's Plan, Your Part. If anything stuck out to you, if you have any questions, or if you'd like to receive a Bible, you can email us at godsplanyourpart@gmail.com. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, please consider supporting us through the link in our description. We love that you're on this journey with us, and we hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow.